Most people believe Mercedes-Benz and Porsche have always been fierce rivals. But what if I told you that one of the greatest Mercedes sports sedans in history was actually built with Porsche's help? Even more surprisingly, it wasn't assembled on a normal Mercedes production line. Every single Mercedes-Benz 500e traveled back and forth between two different factories before it was finished, making it one of the most unusual production cars Germany has ever created. The story begins at the end of the 1980s. Mercedes-Benz had already earned a reputation for building some of the world's finest luxury sedans, but BMW was becoming increasingly aggressive with the M5. The E34 M5 proved that a practical four-door sedan could deliver genuine sports car performance, and Mercedes knew it needed an answer. The challenge, however, wasn't simply building a faster car. Engineers wanted to create a sedan that could cruise across Europe in complete comfort, remain perfectly civil in everyday traffic, and then effortlessly exceed 250 km per hour on the Autobahn. Their solution was both ambitious and complicated. Mercedes selected its legendary M1 5.0-liter naturally aspirated V8, an advanced all-aluminum engine featuring 4 valves per cylinder and dual overhead camshafts. Producing 322 horsepower and 354 lb-ft of torque, it delivered effortless performance with remarkable refinement. But fitting such a large engine into the elegant W124 chassis proved far more difficult than anyone expected. The front suspension had to be redesigned, the body required wider front fenders to accommodate a broader track, the braking system needed substantial upgrades, and countless structural changes were necessary just to make everything fit correctly. Mercedes quickly realized that producing this car on its normal assembly line would be nearly impossible. At exactly the same time, Porsche found itself facing a very different problem. Sales of the 928 and 944 had slowed dramatically, the company was under serious financial pressure, and its famous Zuffenhausen factory had unused production capacity. Instead of viewing Porsche as a competitor, Mercedes saw an opportunity. The two companies agreed on one of the most fascinating collaborations in automotive history. Raw W124 body shells were first assembled by Mercedes in Sindelfingen before being transported to Porsche's factory in Zuffenhausen, where skilled technicians performed the extensive modifications required to fit the massive V8 drivetrain, revised suspension, and upgraded components. The partially completed cars then returned to Mercedes for paint, interior installation, and quality inspections before traveling back to Porsche once again for final assembly. Each 500e completed this extraordinary journey multiple times, covering hundreds of kilometers before ever reaching its first owner. The entire manufacturing process required around 18 days per vehicle, an eternity compared to ordinary production cars of the era. Personally, I think that's what makes the 500e so fascinating. It wasn't simply another fast Mercedes. It was a handcrafted engineering project born from two legendary manufacturers combining their greatest strengths at exactly the right moment. And perhaps the most incredible part of the story was that almost nobody could recognize it. Unlike modern high-performance sedans covered in aggressive body kits and oversized spoilers, the 500e looked remarkably restrained. Slightly flared fenders, a lower stance, wider wheels, and subtle styling changes were enough to hint at its true capability, but only those who knew what they were looking at understood they were standing beside one of the most sophisticated performance sedans of the 1990s. It wasn't built to attract attention. It was built to earn respect the moment the road opened ahead. The Mercedes-Benz 500e didn't become legendary because it chased headlines or outrageous horsepower figures. It became legendary because it achieved something very few performance cars ever manage: it felt complete. Every component seemed perfectly balanced with the next, creating a sedan that was just as comfortable crossing an entire continent as it was attacking a series of fast corners. The naturally aspirated M119 V8 delivered its power with effortless confidence. There was no sudden turbo surge, no unnecessary drama, just an endless wave of smooth acceleration that seemed to grow stronger the faster you drove. Paired with Mercedes' 4-speed automatic transmission, the 500e wasn't built to feel violent. It was built to feel unstoppable. Personally, I think that's exactly why so many enthusiasts still describe it as one of the greatest grand touring sedans ever created. It never tried to overwhelm the driver. Instead, it made extraordinary performance feel completely natural. That philosophy extended far beyond the engine. Porsche engineers helped recalibrate the suspension, giving the car sharper responses without sacrificing the comfort that Mercedes customers expected. The steering was precise, the chassis remained remarkably composed at Autobahn speeds, and the widened track gave the car impressive stability through high-speed corners. Unlike many sports sedans that demanded compromises, the 500e seemed capable of doing everything exceptionally well. It could transport 4 adults in complete luxury during the week and then embarrass dedicated sports cars on the weekend. That dual personality became its greatest strength. Of course, the 500e entered one of the most competitive performance battles of the 1990s. Across Germany, BMW had its formidable E34 M5, a machine celebrated for its engaging manual gearbox and razor-sharp handling. Audi continued refining its Quattro technology, while Jaguar and other European manufacturers were introducing increasingly powerful luxury sedans. Yet the 500e carved out its own identity. It wasn't the lightest, nor the most aggressive. Instead, it offered something many rivals couldn't match, an almost unbelievable sense of solidity. Every door closed with the reassuring sound of precision engineering, every control operated with mechanical confidence, and every kilometer reminded you that this wasn't simply a fast car. It was engineered to last for decades. That's one reason so many examples remain on the road today with hundreds of thousands of kilometers behind them. The M119 V8 earned a reputation as one of Mercedes-Benz's finest engines, capable of delivering remarkable reliability when properly maintained. Owners frequently describe the powertrain as nearly indestructible, while the overall build quality of the W124 platform became the benchmark by which countless luxury sedans were later judged. Naturally, the tuning community also discovered the 500e. Unlike many modern performance cars that rely heavily on electronic systems, the naturally aspirated V8 responded beautifully to traditional upgrades. Freer-flowing exhaust systems enhanced its unmistakable V8 soundtrack, suspension improvements sharpened handling even further, and tasteful wheel combinations highlighted the car's muscular proportions without destroying its understated character. Yet interestingly, most enthusiasts agree that heavily modifying a 500e misses the point. Its greatest strength has always been balance. Mercedes and Porsche had already perfected the formula. Every engineering decision served a purpose, leaving very little that actually needed improvement. As production continued between 1991 and 1994, only around 10,000 examples were built, making the 500e surprisingly exclusive even when new. In 1994 the model was renamed the E500 as Mercedes introduced its updated naming system, but the philosophy remained unchanged. Unfortunately, changing market demands and increasing production costs meant the remarkable partnership between Mercedes and Porsche came to an end. Looking back now, it's difficult to imagine two rival manufacturers collaborating so closely on a production car again. The 500e wasn't just another fast sedan, it became a symbol of what could happen when two engineering legends stopped competing for a moment and instead created something extraordinary together. That may be why its reputation has only grown stronger with time. While many performance cars are remembered for their numbers, the 500e is remembered for the feeling it gave every driver lucky enough to experience it. The Mercedes-Benz 500e wasn't created to become the fastest sedan in the world, nor was it designed to break sales records. It was built because a group of engineers believed there was still room for perfection. Looking back today, that philosophy feels almost impossible to imagine. Modern performance cars are often developed around marketing strategies, emissions regulations, software updates, and digital technology. The 500e came from a completely different era, an era when engineers were simply told to build the best sports sedan they possibly could. They weren't asked to create the loudest car, the most aggressive design, or the highest horsepower figure. They were asked to build a Mercedes that could do absolutely everything. And somehow, they succeeded. Personally, I think that's why the 500e continues to earn so much respect more than 30 years after it first appeared. It wasn't a machine obsessed with proving itself. It didn't need oversized spoilers, dramatic exhaust notes, or flashy styling to announce its presence. It earned admiration through precision, confidence, and an almost unbelievable level of engineering quality. Every kilometer reminded the driver that this wasn't simply transportation, it was craftsmanship on four wheels. The partnership between Mercedes-Benz and Porsche also makes the 500e unlike almost any other production sedan in history. Two legendary companies, normally fierce competitors, set aside their rivalry to create something neither could have built alone. That collaboration gave the automotive world a car whose reputation has only grown stronger with time. Today, collectors don't search for the 500e simply because it's rare. They search for it because they understand what it represents. It was one of the last hand-built performance sedans from an era before automation, before digital driving experiences, and before computers became the most important component of every new automobile. Porsche has built incredible sports cars. Mercedes has built extraordinary luxury sedans. But together, they created something neither company has ever truly repeated. Some cars become famous because they're revolutionary. Others become legendary because they're rare. The Mercedes-Benz 500e became unforgettable because it quietly achieved something almost impossible. It balanced luxury, reliability, everyday usability, and genuine performance better than almost any sedan before or since. That's why many enthusiasts still consider it not only one of the greatest Mercedes-Benz models ever built, but one of the finest sports sedans in automotive history. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more stories about the world's most legendary automobiles. Every subscription helps the channel continue bringing these incredible automotive stories back to life. And now I'd love to hear your opinion. If you could choose one legendary German sports sedan for your garage, would it be the Mercedes-Benz 500e, the BMW E34 M5, the Audi RS2 Avant, or the Mercedes-Benz W140 S600? Let me know your choice and tell us why in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next documentary.